What if Gen V was never just a spinoff of The Boys? What if every scene, every character, and every choice was a piece of an encrypted code, a cipher hiding in plain sight? Because the deeper you look, the stranger it gets. And the more I follow the trail, the more I'm convinced that Gen V has been screaming a message that no one wants to hear. This isn't a story about the rise of heroes. It's a story about their extinction. And the cipher, once decoded, doesn't point to hope. It points to something darker than Homelander, darker than Vought, darker than anything we've been prepared for. Think about it. Gen V doesn't just echo the X-Men, it bleeds their DNA line for line, character for character. But there's a distortion, a twist, as if someone took the original blueprint and corrupted it. The parallels aren't there for fun, they're the cipher, and if you line them up the right way, a terrifying picture emerges. Start with the setting, Godolkin University. On the surface, it's the super version of Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, a campus where the next generation learns, trains, and grows. But ask yourself this, what if the school isn't a sanctuary at all? What if it's a slaughterhouse disguised as a classroom? Xavier's School was about protecting the future. Godolkin is about owning it, shaping it, and selling it. That inversion alone is a red flag. And when you map it against the cipher, you realize Gen V is telling us that the dream of evolution has been hijacked. This isn't nature's next step, it's man's last experiment. Look closer at Marie Moreau. Blood manipulation. It sounds grotesque because it is. Unlike the flashy spectacle of Cyclops, beams, or Storm's weather, Marie's power is intimate, invasive, and biological. In the cipher, she isn't just another mutant parallel. She's the anomaly, the glitch in the code. Everyone else is a product of Compound V, a design mutation. But Marie feels different, almost natural in her unnaturalness. What if she's not just a student? What if she's the cipher's key? The one who wasn't supposed to exist but did anyway? In X-Men, Jean Grey is the Omega mutant, the hidden power who rewrites everything. In Gen V, that role belongs to Marie. But here's the twist. Instead of rewriting the world, she might survive its erasure. And that makes her the most dangerous piece on the board. Kate Dunlap. A girl who can control your mind with a single touch. A Professor X parallel, right? Except the cipher flips it. Kate isn't a leader. She isn't wise. She isn't even free. She's a puppet with her own strings pulled, her gift turned into a curse. Instead of guiding others, she manipulates them against their will. That's not telepathy as enlightenment, it's telepathy as enslavement. And if Professor X was always the conscience of the mutants, Kate is the opposite, the corruption of conscience itself. Another cipher clue. In this world, the leaders aren't mentors, they're weapons. Andre, son of a Supe, carrying magnetic powers, Magneto's mirror. But instead of conviction, Andre is drowning in guilt, trauma, and pressure. His father, the real shadow of Magneto, embodies the sins of the past, while Andre collapses under their weight. The cipher here is chilling. Where X-Men gave us Magneto as a revolutionary, Gen V gives us Andre as an heir to failure. The old guard sinned. The new guard inherits only weakness. That's not an accident. That's the cipher stripping away the possibility of resistance. Jordan Lai, a shapeshifter who embodies both male and female forms. At first glance, the Mystique parallel is obvious. But in the cipher, Jordan isn't about survival through disguise. They're about fragmentation and disunity. Mystique used her powers to infiltrate and to control perception. Jordan's powers fracture identity itself. Instead of symbolizing freedom, they symbolize division. The X-Men turn diversity into strength. Gen V turns it into a fracture, ensuring these kids can never unite. The cipher whispered, they will never form a team. They will never become heroes. They will break before they ever build. And Emma Meyer, the shrinking girl. In Marvel, shrinking is comic relief, a quirky ability. Here, it's body horror. It's disordered eating, trauma, and self-destruction. In the cipher, Emma isn't a hero in the making. She's a living symbol of how powers in this world are punishments, not gifts. In X-Men, every mutation was a door to possibility. In Gen V, every ability is a prison. That's not parody, that's prophecy. Now step back. Look at the Woods facility beneath Godolkin. A hidden lab, cages, restraints, needles. In Marvel, Weapon X was a nightmare, but it produced Wolverine, a symbol of resistance. In Gen V, the Woods doesn't create rebels. It creates corpses. It breaks the cipher's final illusion. This isn't training. This isn't evolution. It's extermination disguised as education. Godolkin isn't the birthplace of the next generation of heroes. It's the graveyard where they're buried alive. And that brings us to the cipher's darkest line. Dean Shetty and her virus. A weapon designed not to control Supes, but to erase them. Ask yourself, what was the great fear in X-Men? The Sentinels. Cold machines designed to wipe mutants out, but machines are external threats. In Gen V, the danger isn't out there. It's inside the bloodstream. A virus designed to switch off existence itself. It's not an enemy you fight. It's a fate you can't escape. And when you see that, the Cipher's endgame reveals itself. Supes were never meant to replace humanity. They were meant to be disposable, temporary, profitable until the off switch is flipped. That's why the parallels exist. That's why the code is written this way. The dream of mutants rising becomes the nightmare of Supes being erased. But here's the question that keeps me awake. If every cipher needs a key, who is it? Who cracks the code? Who survives the purge? The answer is staring us in the face. Marie, the girl whose power flows in blood itself. If the virus is written into the bloodstream of every Supe, then only the one who can bend blood can resist it. Only Marie can rewrite the code. Not to save everyone, because the Cipher has already told us they can't be saved, but to survive when the rest fall. The mutants in Marvel were evolution's chosen. The Supes in Gen V are extinction's victims. And Marie Moreau isn't their leader, she's their final witness. The Cipher's only survivor. Think about the implications. Homelander, the boy, every Supe we've met, they're all pawns in a doomed experiment. Their stories don't end in triumph. They end in termination. The Cipher was never about homage. It was about warning us. In this universe, power isn't a gift. It's a countdown. And the closer we get to Gen V's climax, the louder the ticking becomes. So ask yourself, why does Gen V echo X-Men so clearly? Because it wants us to see the inversion, the dream of evolution twisted into a nightmare of extinction. The parallels aren't Easter eggs. They're tombstones. And every character is a corrupted reflection telling us the same thing. There will be no X-Men. There will be no team. There will be no saviors. Only a cipher, a code pointing to a single conclusion. The age of Supes was never meant to begin. It was always meant to end. And when that end comes, when the virus is unleashed and the world turns the page, only one question will remain. Did we just witness the rise of a new humanity or the final chapter of a failed experiment? If you think Gen V is just entertainment, you're missing the Cipher. Because once you decode it, you realize this isn't fiction, this is prophecy. And Marie, drenched in blood, standing alone as the last super alive, may be the Cipher's final message. Not salvation, not hope, just survival. And that's more terrifying than any villain the boys has ever shown us.